All right, we got Barry here. Barry, how's it going?
It's going great, Justin. How you doing?
Doing fantastic, man. Thanks for showing up to these things. We love to kind of interview our clients who are having success and learning more about their
Terrific.
business. So,
Our pleasure.
Barry, tell me a little bit about how you started Value Capital Funding and where it all began.
Okay. Value Capital Funding is a family business. Myself, my wife, and my brother are the three partners. We started the business back in early 2018. We've each come out of the financial services industry. We all have 30 plus years experience. And we saw the big need here in the financing space to help small businesses acquire quality financing. And that's what led us into the industry. We started it back in the end of January 2018.
Yeah, financing is such a weird industry. Well, not industry, but I guess a weird sector that just people just don't know a lot about, and they can get sideways really quickly, as you've already
Yeah.
showed.
Yeah.
So,
The common thread is that a lot of business owners have started their business because they have a passion for making widgets, for doing HVAC, for being truckers, etc. And it's not a requirement to go to financing school. However, every business has numbers that they have to make balance, or they're going to be upside down and have all kinds of stress. So a lot of business owners learn about financing, kicking and screaming and making bad decisions. The school of hard knocks is very expensive in our field.
yeah, dude, School of Hard Knocks is expensive in every field. It's hard to be on the job and learning as a business owner because you're dealing with real money, you're dealing with real decisions, and sometimes if you don't make the right decisions, you run out of cash. And only about 9% of businesses make over $1 million a year, and 50% of businesses fail within the first handful of years. And
Right.
the reason being is just because of cash, finance.
That's an absolute
And
fact. And to piggyback that point, a lot of businesses, small businesses in America will grab something called a merchant cash advance, the MCA. And that's a typical financing instrument for young businesses and small businesses. And Goldman Sachs had done a study years ago that said if a business has three or more MCAs, they have the highest propensity to fail. So we see businesses with 3, 4, 7, 10 open position MCAs, and you can imagine the house is on fire and they need help any way they can get it. That's what we do.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense because I could see people getting funding and then, whether they make right decisions or wrong decisions, but they're just in a place where things go sideways. And then what do they do? Do they shut down, but they still have this loan that they got to pay back? So I'm assuming that they get another loan and
Yeah,
then a
exactly
couple other
correct.
things go bad and they get another loan. And so you're the person that they go to after all of that's
After
happened.
they've
It's
run
done.
out of that ability to go get another loan, because what happens is they get 5, 6, 7 MCA positions and they still keep going. But eventually the street will shut them off from new MCAs. And then they say, well, now what do I do? So then they have to reverse course. And that's where we come in to clean them up. We're essentially MCA cleanup service. So without new loans, no minimum FICO, no upfront fees, and no collateral, we can restructure. We have attorney led teams, and they'll go into the loan documents, the MCA documents, and legal document. They'll reach out to the MCA companies, and the attorneys will work on restructuring the debt for a client who's failing because of excessive MCA debt. So it's
That's
a
got to be
unique and
such a
specialized niche, but it works.
That's got to be such a defeating feeling when you get to that point. And I'm sure I'm glad there's companies like you because who else do they turn to? Because
Right.
sure,
But
they
you
want to continue the dream that they started with and they have that passion to build.
right. And let me give you an example. They are fraught with stress, and it's what we say is MCA debt is on your shoulders. You know, it's the debt you can run, but you can't hide. So it works like this. A lot of times, the clients will be in such terrible position. I'll give you, for instance, I spoke to somebody last week. The gentleman was crying on the phone with us because we were able to save his business, and then he told us, oh, by the way, you saved my marriage also because I had so much debt. I was embarrassed. I couldn't tell my wife. And now I was able to tell her about the remedy, and she knows I'm de-stressed now. And he was literally wailing on the phone. So it's a very gratifying position from where we sit, but it's incredibly stressful for the merchants and the clients we deal with. But it's a very gratifying business from in our position. We save a lot
I'm
of people.
sure it is because that fella probably felt like there was a weight lifted off his shoulders. And not only is he worried about him and his business, but his family and
Family.
whoever else he's supporting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and all the staff too. They're
Right.
worried about their staff. They lay off friends, and I mean it's a very bad snowball. Just like when momentum goes one way and it's going your way, it's great. When momentum goes the wrong way, it's terrible. So
Yeah.
this is usually
So
one of the causes.
you're like one of the Avengers that comes in and
Well,
things are
I'll,
bad. They come in
I'll
and
let you
save the
use
day.
the adjectives, but we save a lot of people. I will tell you that.
Yeah. So walk me through what it was like building value capital funding. Like what was that?
It's a good question. Okay, so when we first started, we all had contacts. The three of us had come from the finance field, and we used our Rolodex. We networked with professionals. We did all the traditional stuff you're supposed to do out of the box. We treat the public right. They treat us right. We refer to accountants. They refer back, and lawyers, etc. But that's nice. And we crawled, and it was okay. It was good. But then we knew that there was a big market out there if we could reach them where they are. So we always go where they are, and they are on social media. They are on the internet, and it led us into a search for paid ads, Google, Facebook, etc. And we had our trials and tribulations with many firms along the way. We
And when you say
lost
firms like marketing agencies or
marketing
SEO.
agencies, exactly. People like you at conversion,
Mm.
only you guys are better. I'm telling you right now. The people we used before, we got very little ROI, return on investment. In some instances, we lost all our investment. School of hard knocks, right? So we took our own lesson, but we knew that if at first you don't succeed, keep trying. Just because we don't like a restaurant doesn't mean we don't go out to eat anymore. So
Right.
we don't
Yeah,
go
there's
back
always
to
a
that
good, better,
restaurant.
and best way to do things.
Yeah, so
Right.
we don't go to that restaurant anymore. So there were other vendors in the marketplace, and they wooed us with their ads, and we kept trying. We kept trying, and we kept trying, and then eventually we found you guys, and it's been night and day difference. We got our ROI immediately, and now we're on the house's money, so to speak. But we can tell from our bad experiences that this is Cadillac compared to what we were driving before, a Ford Pinto, and this is we're in the right place. So we have a perfect fit, and it's just it when you've made enough mistakes when you're in the right place.
Yeah, when you see the things that you've done wrong and you see something that's like, oh, that this is how it should be. It's a night and day difference. And it's
Yeah.
funny because my business partner, Zach Williams, and myself, when we were building this company, we had this conversation the other day. There's only like 7 things that you need to have in place, right? You need to have an offer that's cold approved so that you can reach out to people that actually want what you do.
Yep.
You need to put a lead generation strategy in place so that they can come to you. And then you
Yep.
need to be able to turn those people who are interested into conversations or sales calls,
That's
right?
right.
And then you need to focus on nurturing them to actually get them to show up. You need to have someone dedicated to the media buying part. You need to have someone dedicated to the follow up itself and the lead nurturing. And then you got to close them.
True.
And anytime that Zach and I have tried to remove one of those 7, what we find is that it just does not
Doesn't work.
produce the
Right.
results that you want. Right now, and why 7? I wish it was 3. I wish it was very easy for people to remember, but it just happens to be 7. And what we found is that's worked in our business, helped us scale to, I don't want to have, financial claims on the recording, but
Yeah.
we've helped over 1,200 clients do the same thing. And it's just a repeatable process. Tony Robbins once said that modeling, if you don't know how to do something, the best thing to do is to find someone who is currently doing it really, really
Correct.
well, and then
Absolutely.
model it, because
Absolute
that'll
fact.
help you cut through all the learning curves and cut through all the wasted money and wasted time.
Exactly correct. And to piggyback that, and your 7 points are well taken. They're spot on. And our business is a little bit unique. We don't sell anybody anything. The analogy we use is if you're bleeding out on the side of the road, you're probably not going to ask the doctor for a second opinion. You're bleeding out on the side of the road. This is who we deal with. We deal with people in financial distress. If I feel that we have to sell them our service, they're not a good fit. They're not in enough pain. Most people we talk to are asking us to be clients. Whether they fit or not is another story. We don't have to sell anybody anything. We have the solution. They're in a ditch. Do you want to come out of the ditch or not? If they don't, we move on. We can't help anybody who doesn't want to help themselves. So we don't really sell them. We don't, yeah, of course we do drips. We do regular marketing basics, but we don't have people calling them on the phone saying, do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? It's not that way at all. These people are searching us out. We're true consultants. We make a lot of sales, quote unquote, a lot of revenue, but people buy from us. So it's a very different approach. And you've helped us in that regard. Also, we have a lot of inbound marketing campaigns, but this one in particular with you is really resonating because the message is so killer for the audience. And it's that simple. If we can 2x4 enough people in the audience, let them know that there's a solution, then they can do what you just said and model. And why suffer unnecessarily if other people have solved their problem already? And we just show them how it's been solved. And they say, oh God, I never knew you existed. And you can hear the air come out of the balloon in the room. Their pressure's gone way down. And now they feel so much better. And now they can get back to being themselves as opposed to being scared and nervous and hiding under the desk, etc. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. I think it's easy to sell someone if they are already sold and they have a very high need, right?
Yes.
And I think one of the reasons why your campaign was very successful is it's easy to sell people who are referrals and word of mouth. And, as you go into cold audiences, though, you need, like, that's why the number one thing is the offer that is cold approved,
Absolutely.
right? So
Absolutely.
one thing that you must have is you must have something that is appealing, because if you look at all the factors that would affect a marketing or, a marketing campaign or a sales process, offer is probably the most weighted at like 40%. And the next most weighted thing is around like the 15 or 20.
Fractions.
And
Yeah,
the
of
offer,
course. I believe it.
and for example, for you, your offer is just a no brainer for those people
If you
who
need it.
are in
If
that
you don't
position.
need it, you pass the spy and go get a handbag on Amazon or whatever you're going to do. But if you're in the ditch and and a lot of these people are in the ditch with nobody to talk to, nobody wants to talk about their debt problems with their friends or talk about it with other business owners or at networking meetings. The people we deal with are so nervous and scared, they don't go to networking meetings. They aren't able to be themselves. They spend 90% of their time worrying about the debt collectors, 10% of their time worrying about the stuff that they should, clients, planning, staff, etc. And we reverse that. We call it the 90-10 rule, and we reverse it and give them back 90% of their day to go do what they started the business for, why they have the passion. The 10% of their time they'll spend managing us, making sure it's done right. But once they know that's happening, the 90% is even better. So for them, we flip that around, give them back their day. A lot of these people aren't sleeping at night. And now when we talk to them, they relax and they know, hey, this too shall pass. And the way we describe it to folks, I'll just give it to you this way. A lot of them we speak to think they blew their engine and they're out of the race, so to speak.
I think it's already done.
Yeah, but what that restructuring is, it's more like a flat tire. And if you come into our pit stop, we'll change the tire and we'll get you back out on the track. Can I make it like when we were kids in a schoolyard and we hit the do-over button and it didn't happen? Of course not. But I can manage that flat tire. You thought it was a blown engine. Now they're psyched. And we go through the process and they're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, it's easy when they think you're a magician. You're like, wow, this guy's touches like he's got Midas's thumb here. He's taking my blown engine and it's spitting out.
Well, that's the point. People go to
RPMs.
the internet to find out things they don't know. And if you didn't know that this was available, like imagine if we didn't find you. We would think all Facebook and all the media companies we deal with, they're all the same. They're all this, they're all that. That's not true. We just had to turn over enough rocks to find you. And we
And
did.
that's, I think, the fair point. Like once you have a really good thing that people you could sell, you have to let more people know about it.
That's the
And
key.
I think that is 100% the key. And that's what, I mean, we focus on paid ads just because that is the most scalable and most efficient way to get your product or your service in front of people.
Yeah, and
Right?
let me
It's
mention one thing. The key
sure.
is in any business is if the client wants what you have, it's so much easier, more effective. You speak from a different tone than if you call them to tell them what you have. So we always have a lot of inbound marketing, and your campaign generates a lot of inbound calls, inbound client interest. So I'm not going to say it's shooting fish in a barrel, but we looking for people who are in the most pain, and then we have a match. But we have so many people calling and so many people inquiring that the challenge of going to find people and tell them about our service, that's no more.
That's a great point, because the difference between an outbound lead and an inbound lead is night and day.
Radical. It's
When
radical.
you're calling somebody like, hey man, I know I just called, like nobody wants you to do a cold call. If you're doing
Nobody.
email,
Even a warm
Google,
call.
Yahoo, all of the email servers and all the email companies, they don't want you to send a cold email, and the people don't
Correct.
want to receive a cold email. So you're fighting an uphill battle. And if you do
That's why
get
the
them,
services and the ISPs don't want you to do it, because their users have bad experiences. They want them on the platforms for a long period of time with a good experience.
yeah,
So when they connect with us or whoever, and they say, oh, this is a good service, I'm going to look at it, I'm going to see if it's for me, they're enjoying the platform, whatever platform they're on. And
Right.
that's the goal of that platform. They don't care if we make a sale or not. They care if their users have a good experience.
Yeah.
And that's what
I
it's
will say it does work. It still does work because there's plenty of people out there doing it. But I
oh,
feel like
sure.
you're fighting an uphill battle when there are other options that are just easier, right?
Much more professional.
Yeah, 100%. And then, to the point when someone sees an ad, because someone might say, well, it's still kind of outbound because you're putting an ad in front of them. But I mean, they're just scrolling through their feed and they see an ad, they click on it. Now you're putting something in front of them because that's the other part of it, right? You got to find the right people and you got to qualify them to make sure that they're good leads, good
Sure.
quality leads, because no one wants trash leads.
Sure.
And then, there's a whole thing of making sure that those are filtered out. And then they get to you. Now they're like, hey, I saw this thing. I'm interested. Like they're coming to you versus you
Right.
going to them first.
Right. But
There's
to your
the
credit,
dynamic is way different.
right. And to your credit, the funnel that we have with you guys, we can see when the lead comes in. So we get an email. And then in a perfect world, 2, 3, 4 minutes later, they book a call. And that happens quite often already. We're doing this 3, 4 weeks with you guys. It's happened more with you guys than cumulative with all of our other pretend agencies that we used before. So
So
I,
all of them combined, you said.
yeah, combined, all of them combined. And we
Okay.
spent some serious money there. We spent money there. And the way I talk about you guys is we invest money with you in the
See.
finance space. So we don't spend any money with you. Ads cost nothing. We always get an ROI, so they cost nothing.
Yeah. I think you mentioned, what was the ROI?
I think we spent 1,700 on ads and we've made over 17,000 so far. So 10 to 1
Yeah,
so
that's
far, and
great.
it'll get better.
Yeah. And you've only been doing this for 3 weeks. So
Right. But we have some files that haven't closed yet that are in process, and those numbers could add up.
yeah, and the sales process, depending on your sales cycle, those will start to trickle in and
Absolutely.
pop it. So I mean,
I
you
can
got your
tell already we
leads
have
to
the flow.
appointments, right? So those, like for example, for you, a lead comes in. You said like a couple minutes later they book an appointment. There are people who drop off there that will eventually then book another
Of
appointment or
course.
their first appointment that
Sure.
didn't book. And then there's people that you've spoken to that haven't sold within the first 3 weeks, and then those will start to trickle in. So I'm
Right.
excited
But the
for what the
uniqueness
results
of
are.
our business is our sales cycle is very, very short. We meet people in the morning, they sign up by the afternoon. The next day is a long time. Because if you're
The pain's so
bleeding out
big.
on the highway, you want to wait 3 weeks, you can, but you're probably not going to want to wait 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
usually the longer our sales cycle is, the more the client is not the right fit. And that happens. But when you're dealing from excess, when you have a lot of inbound leads, no one file matters that much. And we deal with whoever is in the most pain at that moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, Barry, I want to be respectful of your time. Kind of wrap this up. Are there anything you want to say to anybody watching this?
Give these guys a call. You will enjoy the call. You will enjoy the follow-up. And from our experience, it's been great. So I want to thank you guys.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the results, Barry. I mean, 3 weeks, you still got a little bit longer to work with us. And I know the team's dialing some stuff in. They're excited. So let's see where we take this thing.
Same here. Yeah, we're excited as well. Very
All
nice
right, Barry.
talking with you, Justin. Pleasure.
All right. See you, man. Adios.
Take care now.